you guys. Welcome back. Oh, how has it been so long? Welcome back. This is another episode of Swept Under the Rug. I'm your host, Bobby, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to dive into the crazy topic of oppression and submission. So, for a lot of people, these words are interchangeable, but I have some very bad news for you. They are not. They are not the same thing. They don't mean the same thing. They are two different things. Okay? Abuse, neglect, gaslighting, um, just anything you think of when you think of oppression, forcing you to do things, abuse in any kind of way, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, sexual, anything like that, that falls under the category of oppression. If you are in that kind of relationship, you are being oppressed. Okay? Oppression means to be forced or looked down upon due to something. You know what, you guys? We'll get the official definition of oppression, right? That way everybody understands the difference. Oppression literally means prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. Okay? So a lot of people think that because you submit to someone, you are automatically oppressed. But if you are in a submissive relationship, and I'm not talking about those weird things that people do, BDSM, we're not talking about that kind of submission, you nasties. I'm talking about where you are willing to allow someone to lead you because you know that they have your best interest in mind and in heart. Okay? So let's get into it. And as you guys know, I will not even start the podcast without inviting you guys on. So if you have either an oppressive story to tell or questions about it, jump on. If you have a submissive story to tell or questions on that, hop on, you guys. I would love to hear any stories you have. This podcast is not only about me, but about you. It's about those things that we don't want to talk to people about usually because everybody kind of wants to shy away. But we're not shying away here. Here is a safe place. You can talk about what you want, what you need to talk about, get answers to questions that you don't understand, and just get it off your chest. Just take it off. Let it release. So click the link below if you have anything that you want to add to this conversation. I would be so excited to have you guys on. So let's talk about this oppressive relationships, right? Oppressive relationships are where you allow someone for whatever reason, right? I'm not saying that anybody in an oppressive relationship is a bad person. I've been in oppressive relationships. It's hard. It's so hard to leave them, especially if you've been in them for a very long time and you've sat there and the people have just made you feel so unworthy of anything better that you don't know how to escape, that you don't know where to go, that you don't know what to do. And that's okay. There are ways that we can help you. There are avenues that you can take to get out of that oppression. If somebody truly loves you, they won't do those things to you. And I know. It is so easy to hear those words and say, well, I mean, I know they love me. They have moments where they're nice and where they're sweet and where they're kind and I see the goodness in them. But you really, really have to sit there and think, are those good moments worth all of the bad moments that you go through? Bob Marley once said, everyone will struggle and cry tears, but it's your choice of who causes those tears and why. I think I quoted him incorrectly, but that's the gist of it. Oppression is not submission. And for somebody to truly have a submissive relationship, first, that man needs to submit himself to God. So if a man isn't submitting himself to God, his wife is not, by law in the eyes of the Lord, contracted to submit herself to him. And submission doesn't mean that you do whatever your husband tells you to do. That's not what submission means. It means, I will take your lead, allow you to lead us, because I know that you are following God and God is leading you, which means you will lead me towards God, you will lead our family towards God, and you have our best interest in mind. You have every moment that you make a decision, you think first, how does this affect my children and my wife? If you don't have children, how does this affect my wife? If you aren't married yet, how does this affect my girlfriend? How does this affect me? Does this get us closer to God? Does this take us further away from God? Is this going to cause drift in the future, or does this cause us to become closer and work together and it benefit us later on? This is not something that is taken lightly. To submit to someone is a choice. It's a choice where you can 100% feel that they have your best interest in mind. And does that mean sometimes they won't stumble and fall? No. Of course people are going to stumble and fall. We are human beings. But if they are sitting there belittling you, talking crap to you, if they are saying that you're ugly and you need to lose weight because you don't fit a certain look, if they're telling you that they think other people are more beautiful than you, and not in a way that's like, oh, isn't she pretty? But in oh, well, yeah, she's definitely prettier than you. That's not a caring relationship. That is not somebody you should be submitting yourself to. That is somebody that will cause you oppression. That is somebody that will continue to beat you down until you feel like you are nothing, because that's the only way they know they can keep you there. I've been in relationships where they make you feel so great at first, and it feels so nice to be seen, to be loved, to be cared about. And then slowly over time, you notice little things, whether it be they're only happy if you're doing certain things for them. They're only happy if things go a certain way. They don't allow you to have friends. They don't allow you to go places. They cut you off from family. They tell you you're not worthy. They tell you that nobody else will love you. How could anybody else love you? Why would anybody else love you? Those are oppressive relationships. Those are the things we need to be running from. And if we never know the difference between oppression and submission, then how can we know where we should turn and where we should go? If we can't figure out the signs at the very beginning, we will trap ourselves in relationships that will beat us down, tear us up, and when we finally find somebody who does know how to love and care for us, we will be too scared to accept their love how it should be accepted. It will take us years upon years to understand that they are not trying to attack us. They're trying to love us. That's why before you can even get into a proper submissive relationship, you first must submit to God. Because if you don't submit to God, you will never understand. You will never have the ability to tell what oppression is from submission. And they're not the same. If somebody is oppressing you, they are forcing you by manipulating you, by gaslighting you, by telling you you're not enough. And because of that, you slowly start to think it too. I recently seen a video, and these psychologists were doing a study about how you can manipulate somebody's reality. Okay. And they started with children. What they did is they told these children, I think they had like 12 different children, and they take them individually, talk to them, and they tell them, do you remember how you broke your arm? And all the kids at first were like, what do you mean? I've never broken my arm. I've never a day in my life have I broken my arm. And none of them had. None of these kids had broken their arm. They haven't hurt themselves. No, nothing like that. But they told them, like, yeah, you broke your arm this summer. Don't you remember? And then all the kids kept saying, no, I haven't broke my arm. So then they left them and they waited a month. Each time they seen them, it was a month in between. 1 month. Okay? When they came back again, they asked them the same question. Do you remember how you broke your arm? And a few of the kids, they started making up stories. They were like, oh, yeah, I remember. I was at the hospital, but they couldn't give exact details. But they remembered that they broke their arm, right? So then another month comes. And I think they said about 6 months into the study, I think it was 8 out of the 12 children had full-blown stories of how they broke their arm. Some of the children still weren't positive how it happened, but they had bits and pieces of a story of how they would break their arm. Someone would say, oh, I fell off my bike. I fell off the playground. I was playing with my friends and I fell. I was climbing on my bed. I jumped off and I broke my arm. But each one of them had convinced themselves that they had broken their arm just from hearing that they had broken their arm. Now, if these children, by just a single question of how did you break your arm, be convinced, completely come up with scenarios that they had broken their arm, what do you think somebody constantly telling you you are unworthy? You are nothing without me. No one will ever love you does to your psyche? This is something that people don't understand because they're not paying attention enough. They think that words only matter to an extent. Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words can never hurt me, right? But they can. Because those words seep into your psyche. They seep into your subconscious. And when they seep into that subconscious, they slowly start to manipulate how you see not only the world, but yourself. And the more isolated you are, because during the study, like I said, they took each kid individually. It was never as a group. It was never together, nothing like that. It was individually they would speak to them. And because of the isolation, they were able to convince them they had broken their arm from a simple question. Then when they had the parents come in and say, no, you never broke your arm. It was just a test. We were just trying to see something. There were still 5 children that no matter what their parents told them, were convinced that they had broken their arm. But none of them ever had. The things we say and the things we allow ourselves to hear and to take in affect us so deeply that that's why certain things are done certain ways. That's why advertisements are phrased certain ways. That's why movies have certain things in them. That's why they're said certain ways. That's why you shouldn't listen to certain things while you sleep, because it's not your conscious hearing it is your subconscious, and it absorbs everything it hears. People who have tried to stop smoking or have tried to quit any kind of addiction, they're often told to listen. Hi, girly girl. They're often told to listen to tapes as they sleep. And it's not because the tape does anything in particular other than say what they want their brain to rewire. Because your subconscious controls everything. Your conscience barely controls anything. Have you ever driven somewhere and your brain is completely somewhere else? You're thinking about something completely different. You're going through a problem, a scenario in your head, and then all of a sudden you're at where you're supposed to be, and you stop and you think, like, how did I get here? I don't even remember driving here. What is going on? It's because you don't need your conscience to drive. That's a subconscious action. Your subconscious takes over and makes it where you can drive while your conscious is busy doing something else. How insane is that? So when we allow people to come into our lives and we allow them to bully us, we allow them to beat us down, we allow them to control who we see, where we go, what we do, we are teaching our subconscious mind that we cannot function without these people. And that's oppression. The difference with that and submission is I choose to ask my husband things. I choose to follow his direction. I choose to decide whether what he said is beneficial for me, my mental health, my physical health, and my children, along with him. And the biggest difference between oppression and submission is if you try to correct somebody that's oppressing you, they will tell you no. They will get mean. Sometimes they get violent. They start gaslighting you. All because you said no. If you're in a submissive relationship, a true submissive relationship, and you say no, it's okay. Because you are still a person that has the ability to think for themselves. You are still a person that has the ability to understand, I don't have to do that. But my partner will still love me. My husband still loves me when I tell him, no, sorry, babe, I actually am not going to do that. But 9 times out of 10, I will follow him. Because I know he's following God. And I know that even though he stumbles sometimes and he struggles, that when he makes decisions for me and our children, he is taking in account what is best for us. Oh, I love you too, girly girl. You're so sweet. I know those things. And if he ever tries to lead us away from God, if he ever tries to lead us into a path that is not great, those are moments I'm like, no, sorry, we can't. And we won't. And he takes that criticism. Does he take it well all the time? Goodness, no. My husband's a brat sometimes. But it's okay, because I know I'm a brat too. A lot of the time. I have my flaws. I'm not perfect, but no one is. But we must first understand that in a submissive relationship, you are willing to do this. You are doing it because it benefits both of you. You are doing it because you understand that you can say no. In an oppressive relationship, you can't say no. You say no and the whole world explodes. You say no and violence happens. Name calling happens. Crap talking happens. Sometimes you get hurt. All of a sudden things are lost. all of a sudden you go from what felt like comfort and happiness to despair, darkness, fear, intimidation. If those are the things that you're okay, girly, I love you. If those are the things that you're experiencing, you are in an oppressive relationship. You are not in a submissive relationship. And if your partner does not even know who God is, don't submit. Don't submit because they're not submitted to the only person that can lead you to where you need to go. They're the only person that can lead you to the path that you should be on. God wants you to submit to Him and to your husband. He doesn't want you to follow somebody that only thinks of themselves, that only does things to benefit themselves. And if you have any questions or you would just want to share your story, I dropped the link, y'all. Come on, let's do this. I'd love to hear any story, whether it's an oppressive relationship you've been in or that you're currently struggling with right now. Or if you found that submissive relationship and you just understand finally that oppression and submission are not the same. That they're not equal. That they don't mean the same thing. I know I have personally been in a relationship where I was oppressed in a physical way and a mental way. I was constantly told I wasn't good enough. I was called names. I was told I wasn't pretty enough. I was forced to do acts that I didn't want to do. And I did it because I wanted to be loved. And that's the hardest thing when you're in an oppressive relationship. It's not that you enjoy the oppression, but sometimes you just want love. You want to feel like somebody cares about you. You want to feel like somebody loves you and wants you. And because of that, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make that other person happy. But in those moments, you completely forget about yourself. And this doesn't just have to be in a romantic setting, right? You can be oppressed by your parents. You can be oppressed by coworkers. You can be oppressed by friends. You can be oppressed in so many different situations. And it's scary because we mix up oppression with submission because society has made them equal when they're not equal. They're completely opposites. But we confuse our brain and we tell our brain, I must submit to do what they tell me to do because that's the only way that they will love me. But I'm not submitting to them. I'm allowing them to control me. I'm saying I'm not worthy of anything except what they're giving me. And often we accept what we think we deserve. So when you get to the point that you allow yourself to be in an oppressive relationship, whether it be with friends, whether it be with family, whether it be with coworkers, wherever it is romantic, you have gotten to a point that you believe that's all you deserve. And that's where you're wrong. You deserve so much more and so much greater. But in those moments, you don't know what that looks like. You don't even know how to achieve it. You don't know where it would come from. And you're lost. And this is the only love. This is the only attention. This is the only way that you're able to feel like you matter. And because of that, you stay. You say, it'll get better one day. I can fix it. I know I can. If I just do this and this and this better, I know it'll get better. This person will start treating me better. This person will start treating me like how they treat other people. I see how they treat other people. How they treat other people is great, and I would love that treatment. I just have to figure out what I'm doing wrong. And it's always you in the wrong. It's never them. And that's where you have to stop. And I don't think I'm telling you it'll be the easiest thing in the world, because it's not. I barely learned how to set boundaries, how to enforce said boundaries, how to acknowledge that I am worth something. And my worth doesn't come from another person. But the only way that I got there was because I truly, truly had a relationship with God finally. It wasn't a hit and miss, a back and forth, a hey, I'm here, or wait, I'm gone. Oh, maybe tomorrow we can hang out, or maybe the next week. I was no longer putting God in the position of oppression. And I finally allowed myself to submit to him. And it sounds so silly when you say it out loud that you are able to oppress God, because, oh my goodness, it's God. Come on, how can you oppress somebody that's greater than you? But we treat him, and we treat our relationship with him as though he is an oppressed being. We put him in a box, and we say, I only need you in these circumstances. I only want you in these circumstances. And because we do that, we open ourselves up for the exact same treatment. And it makes God so sad. It makes God weep. Because he doesn't want that. He doesn't want us to go through that. He doesn't want us to ever have to deal with that. But we say, we know better. And because we know better, we must be right. Yeah.
Did I ruin your video?
No, I'm live.
You're live?
Mm-hmm. Hold on just a sec, y'all. My bad, y'all. That's what happened when you go live. Anyways, you have to understand that there is a difference. And once you start to understand that there is a difference between oppression and submission, you can start to understand where you are being oppressed. And once you start that, you can start to understand how to remove yourself from that oppression. And my biggest number one thing I would recommend for anyone listening to this podcast, for anyone watching this podcast, start with God. Find God. And I don't mean the little here and there. Hold on, y'all. My hip started to hurt. My bad. I don't mean like a dollar store God. Okay? And by a dollar store God, I mean that God that you're like, oh, hey, I know him. Yeah. I see him Sunday, sometimes on Wednesday. I mean, every now and then I'll get like a Bible verse on my feed on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. So yeah, me and God real tight. No, that's a dollar store God. Okay? You got a dollar store relationship with God. Right there. You need to have what is those high end? Like a Gucci, Prada kind of relationship with God, where you're so excited every day to be able to go in and talk with him, where you get up every day and you're like, oh, God just dropped some new knowledge up on my heart. Ooh, God told me that I could tell him anything. Ooh, I'm about to go tell him this thing. Where you wake up and you're so excited to be alive because you know that you get to tell everybody else about God, that's the kind of relationship you need to find with him. Because once you find that relationship with him, it just starts trickling down. And that oppression that you're having by that person that says they care, says they love you, says they want to be with you forever and they could never be with anybody else, but they're over here cheating, lying, doing all these things out here in the club, jumping from place to place. You start to realize that that's not what I want. That doesn't make me feel loved. I deserve better. And when you start to see that, that's when you can start to remove yourself. And once you start to remove yourself emotionally, it's a billion times easier to remove yourself physically. Now, for any of you that are out there that are being physically abused and you are scared, there are resources. And I will make sure that any resource that I can find, I will link in the description below. Because there are ways out. And I promise you, God doesn't want you where you are. God never meant for you to be in that situation. Don't stay. I know it's hard and I know it's scary, but don't stay. Find your closest resource center and seek help because it matters. Because you matter. Because you are worth more than what that person is telling you you are worth. You are worth more than them hitting you, than them screaming at you, than them telling you you are nothing. Day in and day out, no matter what you do and how hard you try, you are worth more. And I know they have told you that you are worth nothing and no one cares, but it's a lie. And if they know if you figure out that it is a lie, that they'll lose you, and that's why they keep telling you that lie. So please seek help. I will make sure I have things in my description that you can use to seek help. And if that's the only way you can find help, I know God will lead you to it. Because he wants the best for you. He didn't create you to be in that situation. Oppression was never part of the plan. And that's why we must learn the difference between the oppression and submission. Because it matters. It matters so, so much. But because we live in a world where they just mingled it all together, it's become so hard to understand and to actually want to submit. But if you find the right person, submitting, it's a unity thing. It's not two individuals where one is above the other. No, it's side by side, coming together to work for the better, to continue on a path that God meant for you to be on. And when you find that person and they're willing to submit to God and you're willing to submit to them because you know they submit to God and you are already submitted yourself to God, it's phenomenal. It's hard. Don't ever think it's not hard, okay? Everything's hard, okay? We live in a crappy world. But it's a little less hard than being by yourself. It's a little less hard than being on the road blindfolded. And when you are oppressed, you are blindfolded, your ears are taped, your mouth is taped, and your hands are bound. Maybe you got a foot out and you're hopping along. But let me tell you, that hopping along, there's a billion rocks in front of you. Maybe some glass too. And as long as you stay oppressed, the stumbling blocks get worse. And those cuts that you feel on the inside, they get deeper and deeper and deeper. And they take longer and longer to heal. I appreciate you. Hi, Shauna. I see you over there. I see you. It's so difficult to truly understand oppression versus submission. And it's only difficult because how society is. If we go back, it's like 70 years now? Oh, good golly. To the 50s, submission was much, much easier to understand back then. Was it still very incorrect? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because that submission was a more of authoritarian submission. And an authoritarian submission is not what we need. No one is above anybody. We all on the same plane. The difference is this person is held responsible for guiding this person. And this person's willing to allow this person to do that because they understand that this person has this person's best interest at heart. It's never just this person that gains, why this person just slowly trickles back down. The trickling down, once that starts, you've gone from submission to oppression. Even if you started in submission and you started here, the moment either one of these people, because also women can oppress men, right? I've heard stories, I've seen it. Women can oppress men. They tell them they're not good enough. They tell them they're failures. They tell them that they'll never succeed. The only reason they are where they are is because of her. Women can be just as manipulative as men. So don't think that this is just a one-sided, only a man can do it. No. A woman can do it too. Women do it to their friends often, right? Let's be honest. Especially if we go back to like middle school, high school. We all know we had that one friend that was super good at oppressing people, right? They always had to be the best at everything. They always had to be at the top. They always had to be either the prettiest or the smartest or the fastest or the coolest or whatever, right? And there was always that one person that really was only with the group because the group needed somebody to pick on. But that person really wanted to be part of the group because that group was cool. And that group was like, whatever. I'm old, so I was about to say hip. So that person allowed the picking on to happen. And that person was the person being oppressed. And at least one of those other people were the oppressor. Those other people may have not been an oppressor necessarily, but they were a bystander. And if you sit by and watch somebody be oppressed and you willingly allow that person to be oppressed and say absolutely nothing to nobody, you are also the problem. I'll say it louder. You are also the problem. I don't remember who said it, but they said evil can only survive and be prosperous when good men do nothing. So if you are sitting there watching somebody be oppressed, and you do nothing about it, you're the problem. If you are sitting there and a family member comes to your house, you see bruises, you can clearly tell that their mental state is worse than what it was the last time you seen them, and you can pinpoint where it came from, and you do nothing, you are the problem. You are contributing to their oppression because you are doing nothing to save them. Now, those people who are like, yeah, I've tried to talk to them. I told them they need to leave. I told them this. You are slightly the problem. Because are you giving them a way out? Are you giving them the right tools? Or are you just talking at them? Because you can talk at somebody all day long. You could tell somebody all day long, yeah, you should do this and you should do that. And I don't know why you do this. But did you stop? Did you look in their shoes? Did you take a moment to see what they see? Did you take a moment to ask them why and then listen? Not just ask why and then fill your head with all these things that you want to tell them about this other person, but actually stop and hear them out of why they think they should stay, and then try to help them understand why they should leave. Did you provide a safe space away from that person? Did you ensure that when somebody told you that somebody was hurting them, that you didn't just shrug it off? Did you listen to that child that told you they're uncomfortable around so and so? Or did you ignore it? Now, there are people out there that no matter how much you tell them and how much you try to help them and how much you try, they are so lost in the oppression that they just can't figure it out. And you know what you do for those people? You pray. You pray without ceasing, and you just know that God will help them. Because you can't help everyone. That's not our job. But you have to try. Because if you don't try, you fail. And once you stop trying is once you start failing. Right, is when you start failing. Some people don't want to leave their abuser. When I was a child, me and my mom, me and my siblings were abused. Yeah. Yeah, because he paid for bills and he paid for drugs. And she seen that she could not do anything because she convinced herself that she needed those things first off and that he was the only way that she could get them. And I know. That's the worst thing about when kids are involved in an oppressive relationship, because a child will see the oppression before the oppressed, whether it be the mom or the dad. The child will see it. You're fine, bug. The child will realize it and notice it and beg the parent to leave, beg the parent to care enough to want to leave. This is my tiny person right here, y'all.
No, Mom, don't say that.
Well, they could see you. I always pray that she'll never end up in that kind of relationship, y'all. I get terrified. Hold on just a second, y'all. My bad. What's up, bud? She brought me water, you guys. My daughter's so sweet. I love her so much. It's so hard when kids are involved because you also go through the, if I leave and I can't take them, will the oppressor do worse to them? But I promise you, there are ways to get out. And you deserve so much better. Your children deserve so much better. And you should never stay because you don't think you can do it. Because I promise you, you can. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Sometimes it's going to be difficult for a very long time. Those scars that you feel, they're going to take a very long time to heal, and they may never truly heal. But staying will ensure that they never heal. Staying will ensure that it'll never get better. Because no matter how much you convince yourself it will, it won't. Because if they wanted to, they would. And some people, it just takes leaving. Some people, they don't truly understand what they're doing. And it's because they came from oppression. 9 times out of 10, somebody that oppresses somebody else came from somebody that oppressed them. And they don't understand how not to oppress somebody else because they never saw the flaw in it. And if they did see the flaw, it was beaten out of them slowly but surely. And because of that, they don't see what's wrong. So they do it to someone else. And then that person does it to somebody else. And it's a constant snowball. It's a domino of a generation of people that are oppressive. It doesn't just come naturally. You aren't born into like, oh, I'm going to be a horrible person, right? No. Children are so sweet when they're first born. Are they little stink butts sometimes? For sure. But what do you do in those moments? How do you change? How do you address it? Do you tell the boy that's picking on the girl, oh, you're doing that because you like him? Do you tell the girl that's being picked on by the boy, he's only doing that because he likes you? Did you know that girl will grow up thinking that it's okay to be beat on because they like them? Do you understand drilling it into their mind when they're young that it's okay to pick on somebody because they like them? Later on in life, they can develop physical abuse tendencies and they start beating the person they like. And before you know it, you have a horrible person in your family and you are sitting there and you're thinking, where did I go wrong? But what you don't understand is you went wrong the moment you didn't address the fact that that's not how you treat people. What you didn't understand is you created somebody to oppress somebody else because you yourself allowed others to oppress you or you oppressed them. You didn't listen to them when they told you they didn't like something. You didn't listen to them when they told you they were uncomfortable around somebody. You listened to yourself and what made you happy and you forgot to think about them. Because oppression starts when you are young. And how it is addressed and how you take it in and what you get from it and how you take that and change it is what tells you whether you will be an oppressor, whether you will allow somebody to oppress you, or whether you will fight back against it all. Because submission is not oppression. And if you submit does not mean that you will be oppressed. Because we are to submit to God, Why? Because he wholeheartedly, with no doubt, in any kind of which way, has the best plan for us. And if we would only listen and follow and do, life would be a billion times easier. But what we do is we listen, we kind of follow, we do a little bit of stuff. Oh, wait, I like this more. Oh, wait, this looks pretty here. Oh, wait, what about over here? Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be following God. I'm sorry, I'll come back. And all those little turns that you take off the road to lead you down a further path. And that path, he has to curve you back hard. And if you don't curve before it's too late, it becomes too late. My favorite phrase of all time, and I tell everybody this: no one is too far gone. Because I believe there is a chance for everyone to find God again. Now, the moment you decide that you never want him, that he can never ever help you, and you drill it into your brain so hard that you go to the grave like that.
Love you, Mom.
Love you. That is when you fall into the too far gone. God wants so much better for you. He wants you to learn what true submission is and what true submission can do for you. Because it is a blessing. Do you know how happy I get that I am able to allow my husband to do certain things? That I don't have to mentally carry certain things. Because listen, as a mom, I have 2 tiny children. They're ages 5, the little girl you just seen, and ages 4. He's a little boy, and there's people, okay? I have heart attacks on a day. Oh no. Sorry guys, my internet went for a second. I don't know what happened. But on a daily, my child scares me. But my husband is like, it's fine. And I just look at him like, I think you're a crazy person. But whatever. You're a boy, he's a boy. Whatever. I have so much on my mind with just them two. And then myself. And then the things that I take off my husband's plate so that he don't have to worry about them. I jumble it all together. And I get annoyed sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I do. But it's okay. Because the bigger picture things, such as where's the money coming from? Where are we going to be in the next year? What is the plan to get us closer to God? I don't stress about those things. Do I think about them? Of course. Because I'm here to assist my husband along our path, along our journey. But I'm not sitting here stressing, saying, I have to figure out work. I have to figure out money. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm very blessed that way. Do I wish I had more money certain times? For sure. Why? Because there are certain things I would like. They're not here yet. That's fine. Why? Because I also know that God has a plan and he's building something and I see it. I see it. I just got to figure out the in-betweens. And there's a lot of times I'm like, God, show me the in-betweens. And he's like, no, just walk with me. It'll be fine. And that's what I do with my husband. I walk with him because I know it'll be fine. When we go out in public, you guys, so if I go out in public by myself, especially with my children, I'm on alert. I'm like, who, where, what's happening, what's around me, where, what, who? I'd be like, mom mode, right? If my husband's with us, I'm like, la, 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 la. Ooh, look, that's pretty. Ooh, look at that. I don't care. Why? Because my husband's on alert. That's his job in that moment. And I love that. Because even though it doesn't feel like a lot, it's a weight lifted that I don't have to worry about. And when you truly submit to God, it's all the weight lifted. And if you just follow him and listen and do what he says, that's the hardest part, that weight just is held. And you don't have to feel it. When you start to take stuff into your own hands, you feel it a lot. But when you also find a partner that submits to God, and you both can submit to God, and then you can submit to that partner, it's a different kind of walk. And it's a different kind of weight lifted. And I can promise, and I can 1,000% attest from my own experience, going from an oppressive relationship to a true submissive relationship is night and day. It is so different. It is so amazing. And I pray constantly that everyone can find that. But you have to first find God. Because you can think that you have the right person that you can submit to, and they can be a God-fearing person, and they can be XYZ. But if you aren't on the same page when it comes to following God, it won't be right still. You have to have alignment with God. And I can tell you, because I don't be lying on here, y'all. We tell facts here. There are no misinformation leads. I struggle. Me and my husband struggle. My husband's relatively new to his faith. He is still learning how to submit to God himself. So yes, there are moments that no, I will not submit to my husband. Because that doesn't align with what God wants. But my husband understands that. And he's willing to take correction. And it took him a good minute to get there. It wasn't always rainbows and sunshine, and it's not always rainbows and sunshine. It's frustration, it's irritation, it's let me beat you up sometimes. It's he wants to beat me up. When I say that, I don't mean like physically, it's just like if you've ever been married, you know. But it's different from relationships where I was oppressed. It's different because I understand that I can say no and not have somebody come back at me and treat me like crap because I said no. Are there still moments in a relationship where that no does lead to that? Yeah. But those are the moments that we're listening and we're trying and we're adjusting and we're learning to submit those moments to God. But that is also why you must truly understand God first before you get in relationships. Because if we were both aligned with God properly before we got into this, we wouldn't have those moments like we do. And I can say that. It's okay. Because I love growing with my husband. Are there moments that I cry out and just bawl? Yes. Yes, there are. But I don't bawl because I'm scared. I don't bawl because I'm fearful or I'm at a point where I just can't take it. I bawl because I know where I've faltered. I know where I should have waited with stuff. And that's my own fault. I put myself in this situation. But I'm not oppressed here. And even if you put yourself in an oppressive situation, that doesn't mean you have to stay. I'm not oppressed where I am, and that's why I stay. The moment it becomes oppression, I don't care. I'd be gone. Because I've gotten to the point in my life where I understand that I'm worth more. And that's what we have to get to. We have to stop listening to the voices that say we're not worthy and start listening to the voice that created us, that tells us we are beyond worthy. So please, 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 look to God to explain and to help you understand that oppression is not submission. And if you submit, you are not oppressed. But most of all, turn to Him to understand what you are truly worth. And if you are in a situation where you are being oppressed, leave. Don't second guess it. Don't try to make up excuses for it. Leave. It's okay to be alone. It's scary. You'll get used to it. And then when you get in a relationship, you'll miss being alone sometimes. It's called quiet and silence, and it's nice sometimes. But it's okay to be in that season because it's just a season. It's not forever, and it won't be the worst thing. But staying where you are being belittled, where you are being gaslighted, where you are being just beyond comprehension of feeling like a human being that matters, that is the worst place you can ever stay. And if you are scared and you are worried and you just have no idea how to escape it, or you have little ones and you're terrified for them if you do escape, wondering what the backlash will be, please seek help. There are people that want to help you, truly want to help you. Not those weirdo people that want to help you for praise and glory and then do weird things. No. There are God-fearing people that want to help you out of that situation. And like I said, I will make sure I have links below so you can find that help. But seek it. You were led to this episode for a reason. This is touching your heart for a reason. Do not allow that person to continue to make you feel that way, because God wants so much more for you. And you deserve so much more. And if you're the oppressor listening to this, stop. Get help. There are therapists. There are people who will just listen and pray for you. Turn to God yourself. Pray. Ask Him. Tell Him, you know what? I've realized I'm the person that's doing these things. I realize that I'm the person that has caused somebody else to feel this way. How do I stop? Because trust me, if you say those words, the angels will rejoice. He will be so excited because you've taken the first step into recovery. Words matter. Actions matter. Allowing someone to belittle you, to treat you like you are worse than the dirt that the earth is made of matters. And you deserve so much better. You deserve so much more. So please start to believe that you're worth something. You're worth being loved and cared for. Let's see what Miss Angie Ann said over here. I have no clue as to what a healthy relationship looks like. I believe that it's one of the reasons I don't date. Plus, I have trust issues. It wouldn't be fair for the next guy when I'm not healed from my ex-husband, who was a huge narcissist. I understand, girlie. At the same time, though, you have to let God heal you. You have to allow God in and accept that you deserve to be healed from that. And understand that there are people out there that are trustworthy, that do deserve the ability to show you what love is, to show you the love that God has already showed you. I know that you know what love is because I know that you know how God loves you. I think it's more of fear that you'll falter and you won't make a good decision again. And all of us have those fears, especially when we leave relationships like that. I know I did. And it was so hard to allow a true relationship to happen. And that's why I stumble in my relationships. That's why we still have our moments of frustration, irritation, of, "Ugh." But I also didn't give God the time to do what he needed to do. I didn't follow and listen to him and allow him to lead. I wasn't being submissive to the Lord. And because I didn't submit to the Lord properly, I didn't allow him to lead me to where he wanted me to be. I didn't allow him to mold my husband into the person that I know he wants my husband to be and that he's molding him into now before I said, this is what we're going to do. So don't think just because you haven't found the person that you're supposed to be with yet that it won't happen. Because God has someone for you. And he will deliver him in due time. But my tiny people are outside the store and my little man trying to break in. So I am going to cut it there, y'all. But please, get nothing else out of my podcast tonight, y'all. If you get nothing out of this episode, remember these 3 things. Number 1, oppression is not submission. And if you submit, you will not be oppressed, okay? They are opposite things. Number 2, you are worthy of love, of happiness, of so much more than what that person is telling you. And I want you to start to talk to God about it. Just do it in your head. Don't even worry about saying things out loud. My best conversations with God all happen up in here. I don't say a single word. And I love it. And number 3, there is a way out. God will provide it. And you were led here for a reason. So please seek it out before the oppressor makes it where you can never leave. And know that I am always praying for you. Because no one deserves to be in that situation. Like I said, I will make sure there are links below that you can get help. I will make sure that's on a national scale. That way anyone in the United States can find that help. If you are in a different country seeking help, I will try to find some stuff. But I know there's stuff. I know there's ways. And if I can just help one person, I don't even need to ever know about it. But God is with you, and he never left you. nor will he ever leave you. So please turn to him and allow him to help you. I love you all, and I appreciate you staying with me. And I cannot wait to have next week's episode. We will be back on track, y'all. Wednesday night. It's going to be a special episode, you guys, okay? Because I told my daughter that she could do an episode with me. So it'll be me and my baby girl. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but it should be fun, y'all. So I'll catch you next time. Have a good night. Love y'all. Bye.